What a day. Bitcoin dumping? Absolutely not. This is opportunity popping in here. Last opportunity. We still have the executive orders. He did not mention it in his inauguration speech, but I don't think that was expected, really, if you think about what's going on. But we see some massive buys in Ethereum and Chainlink and Athena and Tron and all kind of stuff with World Liberty Financial. Let's jump right on into it, everybody, today. We've got some great guests. So without any further ado, let's go. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. We're seeing all kind of movement in the markets today, especially with the, I guess I would argue, one of the most monumentally important days in the history of crypto. Looking at the chart right now, we actually broke all-time highs only to crash. Is this really a crash? We're still holding above this level. So with that being said, let me make sure I got all these lovely folks. We got two incredible guests, which we're going to be doing Mondays together here on forward. Let's see. I'm just getting their screens and everything set up. And with that being said, where is two guests? Boom. We got Matthew Highland and Mr. Kevin Svensson. We are back here in charge. What are we making of this?
What's up? What today's price action or what? Today,
yeah, what are we making of this,
people,
man?
I think we're expecting, Bitcoin, or Trump to say something during the inauguration about Bitcoin. But I was actually sort of on the opposite side. I was going to be surprised if he said something about Bitcoin at the United States presidential inauguration. I mean, it's kind of I think it's a lot to ask for to have the president say something about a specific investment vehicle at the inauguration, right? So he talked about it yesterday at his celebration speech, but he didn't talk about it in the inauguration, which it makes sense. I mean, his focus is the United States and U.S. policy, and he went down his list of priorities, and he started off with the border, and then he went down the list, and that's really the priority of the president. So he's not going to be pumping our bags at the inauguration. So I was not really surprised that he didn't mention it. I thought it was kind of expected that he wouldn't. It would almost be kind of reckless, almost, if he did, in a way.
Well, one of my concerns with all this, though, and I don't want to say it's a full-on concern. It's like an immediate, near-term concern. Let me see if we can get this here. I gotta fix all these since we're just doing this live. One second. Why is this all jacked up? Hold on one second. Home. I don't know why. Well, we'll go off that. Essentially, that. Dang it.
You gotta get Kevin back.
Now it's just Matthew's stream.
Two guests. There we go. I have a different home setup, and the buttons aren't set up the same on there. It's all good. But there was essentially from Bitcoin News, just in strategic Bitcoin reserve not listed as an immediate priority in documents sent to Republican lawmakers by the Trump admin. So I wonder if that's because it's going to be announced today, so it doesn't need to be further, outlined to them or what. But as we've been pointing out here on BitLab, this week is going to be a wild week based on how things are rolled out. It doesn't change the speculative bullishness of what's coming this year, but how and when things are actually presented, laid out, or actually executed in the executive orders will either, sort of catalyze or minimize the immediate near term, meaning this week, momentum either to the upside or downside. But what do you think about this, Matthew? Is this just whatever happens, downside is just still just presenting opportunity?
Yeah, if there's downside, I think it's more or less just an opportunity. I wouldn't read too much into what he said or what he didn't say. That it will probably result in the same. I think the more substantial thing is what happens with whatever potential announcements that come during this week, or whatever he signs or whatever gets signed, whether it be the strategic Bitcoin reserve, or if the United States is going to start to buy Bitcoin, or maybe we have been hearing even altcoins, as well as potentially the SEC getting frozen. That was a rumor last week, or that was reported that they might freeze all regulation, or most crypto regulation from the SEC. So I think that'd be more important if we get that during this week.
No, I definitely agree with that. But we gotta touch on, obviously, some of the wild week, the most wild weekend I think we ever had in crypto. I ended up hosting a 7-hour Spaces on the Mario Nawfal channel Friday night with the Trump coin launch, and we went from 11 p.m. to about 7 a.m. And it was just wild opinions on all regard, good, bad, right,
Wait,
wrong.
what time was it? What time
7,
did you do it
11,
till?
11 p.m. until 7 a.m.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
All
I
nighter.
listened to you. I listened to you for like 10 minutes at 3 o'clock in the morning. Damn, you're crazy, man. I don't know. I don't know how you do that.
Well,
Oh, man.
when things are happening, you got to talk about it. But what's your take on that? Because on the one hand, you've got, I saw one analytical report from Dune that showed it was over 162,000 people bought directly via credit card, meaning that's an onboarding of 162,000 people that, that are not in the space. So on the one hand, you have massive awareness campaign, if you will, to people outside of crypto that wanted
I
to get involved, and it starts sort of ushering that familiarity with the space at some base level. And on the other hand, people say, well, you shouldn't do it. But I mean, this to me kind of was a signal before the inauguration. We really are going crypto focused here. What was your take on that, Kev?
Well, I guess, I mean, the whole event of Trump's coin coming out and people, it is an onboarding event. And I think it's going to bring in a whole new wave of money flow. There's probably a lot of people that were not previously involved in crypto that maybe just followed Trump on Twitter or whatever, or just like Trump, that are now in crypto. They're now crypto people because they now own the official Trump meme. So, I mean, ultimately, I think it's good. There was the immediate reaction of basically a bunch of the altcoins pulling back on the launch of Trump coin, and that, people were speculating out of a lot of coins to get into Trump coin. But I think ultimately a lot of that money that left some of these altcoins, basically it's like this. Bitcoin didn't dump on the launch of the Trump coin because a lot of the Bitcoin holders, they have principles and there's a really good narrative and Bitcoin is digital gold. They're not just going to jump out of Bitcoin to get a meme coin that Trump made, right? It's very strong principles behind Bitcoin holders and the top holders of Bitcoin. They're not going to be selling Bitcoin for Trump coin. Now, altcoin holders, they don't really have much principles, right? They're just looking for the next shiny object that could possibly print them some gains. So they will very quickly and very easily just drop what they have like a hot potato and hop into Trump's coin, right? That's why the alt sold off. It's a bunch of wishy-washy price action, but just as easily as these people sold their alts to get Trump coin, they will just as easily sell Trump coin to get back the bags that they had before. So you had this temporary sell-off in the altcoins, and it's likely to they're going to return at some point when all of this craziness. Now we have Melania coin, and I don't know, is there going to be a Baron coin? Is there going to be a this or that? Probably, but eventually it will shift back into a lot of the alts that dipped. And also, it seems pretty clear, and I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to this, but there's going to be a new type of era in crypto sort of memes, and it's going to be like personality coins or icon coins, icons like politicians, right? And
Well,
celebrities.
my biggest worry with that is even with the Trump and Melania launches, and they were launched, it was acknowledged on True Social and on Twitter. There was still, I remember the day Trump launched, it was wild speculation about whether it was a scam or not, like whether it was his accounts were hacked, so on and so forth. Now, somebody made a great point. If that was the case, then the meme coin potentially being a scam wouldn't be the topic. That would be probably one of the largest national security threats that you can imagine if Trump had his socials hacked, because he could post anything, or whoever would have hacked it could have posted anything that could have, caused, pretty widespread chaos, from nuclear things to whatever. So I think when we look forward into these other coins, I think this is, while I do think it's good generally on the adoption rate, I think we need to make sure people are as educated as possible on how to identify, where am I getting a contract address from? Who's launching it? If this is a Denzel Washington coin, is Denzel Washington, or did somebody just cook up a coin for Denzel Washington and that's a scam and Denzel's not involved? And because we've already seen that kind of pervasively in this space, here and there. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to create the authority to immediately and as quickly as possible vet all these, if there is a litany of coins on, throughout the weeks or days or months, whatever, of these things being launched, to ensure that we're not tarnishing the space because there's so much pervasive and overabundant, fake impressions of these projects.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a concern. I'm not sure what the solution would be, like some sort of triple verified digital signature that some famous person would have to use on everything they do, or like whatever, but something along those lines is going to be needed. We're going to have deep fakes and stuff like that. So if somebody hacks Trump's Twitter, then they can post a deep fake video that really looks like Trump, really sounds like Trump, right? And then it'll be like, people will think that that's confirmation, because when Trump's coin first launched, the thing that people were looking for was a video or a statement by Trump, which wasn't made. And so the people, it was hard to verify it for many hours. And those first couple hours were the most important moments to get into. I didn't get into it, but it was the most critical moment, was like that first really 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 hour. That was the most critical point. And then after that, it's kind of like, just wishy-washy price action at the top. So yeah, I mean, people that bought Trump coin on the launch, they're not only lucky that they got in early, they're lucky that it wasn't a scam.
Yeah.
Right. They took that shot in the dark and it worked out. And some people took that shot in the dark with like $1 million and it worked out.
It was definitely a risk.
Yeah, high risk, I guess, high reward. But again, it is a risk. But you know what? There's been a lot of talking over this last weekend. Let's pull up some charts and look at some of the stuff going on in the market. I see, Kevin, you got your charts ready. I know the screen's going to be jacked up. So give me 1 second when I switch over so I can assign all the correct areas. See, like right there, this one right here. Give me 1 second. Guest 5.
The one thing I would say too is, though, with Trump launching his own meme coin, it essentially kind of is now, saying it's okay to launch meme coins as a public person. We've seen it in the past few years, obviously, but there was never any legal clarity. But I think one step further is that with that being okay, I think we're going to see actually a lot of different other entities probably follow through, because they're going to see the success of how fast the meme coin went up. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw companies, sports teams, just different things make a meme coin. Maybe Twitter makes a meme coin. Maybe I don't know. It could be anything. But I think now that it is okay, essentially, because the president of the United States has made one, I think this kind of gives the okay for anyone else or any other company or any business, anything, to potentially make meme coins, right? So this is really, in one way, I would say I'm not like a huge fan of people making meme coins, right? This is going to probably eventually really disperse the market with the amount of coins that are probably going to be coming. But on the other hand, it's going to bring a lot of people in, right? If we see, let's say a sports team, right? Let's say the Chiefs or something win the Super Bowl and they say, hey, we're going to launch a meme coin. And then you're going to see people pile in that, maybe like a lot of the gambling community. You're going to see people that aren't into crypto find their way into it. So it does have a lot of potential to get a lot of people in. I actually got like a text. I don't know if I'll be able to like show it, but one of my friends who I'm not sure if you can read it, but
what do you think about Trump coin? Yeah.
And I haven't, and interestingly enough, the last time that he really messaged me about crypto was around this time 4 years ago about Dogecoin. When Doge, at the end of January of 2021, that's when Doge broke through and got above, I think, a penny. This was the very end of January. It got above a penny. And I think he bought it around that time. And then it went up 75x from there, I think. So this kind of is weird in the sense that it's coming at a very similar time as when Doge brought a lot of people into the market. And I think the Trump coin is going to do the same. I think a lot of people are going to come into the market. It got listed on Robinhood, I believe, last night. So it's definitely, it was a curveball to the whole space, right? This came out of nowhere. But there's two ways to look at it, right? You could be bearish about it because it's going to probably lead to many more meme coins. But on the flip side, it will also probably bring a lot of people into the space.
Right. I mean, if it is just sort of going off what you just said, I mean, every election, it's like, you were saying it's weird how it happened last cycle and it's happening now. I mean, it's kind of a coincidence, I guess, that like Elon pumps Doge, I guess this time last cycle. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was around this time he was tweeting
And
about
then
it.
now you have the Trump meme coin, but it kind of just goes along with the idea that the cycles are all sort of surrounding the U.S. presidential elections, and it's always this thing where there's the election inauguration, and then usually even for the S&P after the inauguration, there's more upside to come. That's how it was in Trump's Trump got in office in 2017, and then Bitcoin goes from 1,000 to 20,000. And same with Obama, it was $15 and ran to 1,200. And so then you have Joe Biden last cycle where he got inaugurated, and then we fell to like 28 or whatever, and then pumped to 65. So usually after the inauguration, there's a continued wave of enthusiasm, right? And so every cycle has common waves of enthusiasm. And our first major, well, we had sort of a mini cycle in of itself going up to the all-time high from 2023 up here. This was in of itself kind of like its own cycle in a way with the ETF approval. And then we had a lot of sideways. It was also a premature pump going into the all-time high. For the first time ever, Bitcoin hits the all-time high before the halving. So it was a premature pump that led to most of 2024 being a really, really boring and frustrating year for Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. And now we're getting that next common wave of enthusiasm for the market. And now, especially like we were just showing, after these inaugurations, there's usually bullish price action most of the time. Yeah, I think the next common wave of enthusiasm is coming up. And this is also all coming in alongside, along with the macro parabolic trend, right? Bitcoin is very much still in a parabola, going parabolic, and we're getting steeper now, right? We're getting steeper, and we've had base 1, base 2, base 3, this base 4, and now that Trump's in office, I think we might be pumping into a major sort of euphoria stage for this part of the cycle, which would then probably have a breakdown of the parabola through the summer and then pump into the end of the year, going to an even higher level. But I do think there's going to be a mid-cycle correction, and this next phase of the market will be very bullish for Bitcoin and altcoins, I think, as well. And there's a lot to say about that too with the altcoins, because they've been pretty boring. But now with Trump coming in, signing his executive orders, trying to make sure that U.S.-based cryptos are going to be the best, or going to he's trying to ensure that U.S.-based coins do well, everything that's America does well. And so I think you're going to see a big shift towards U.S. coins, top U.S. coin. This is a new category on CoinGecko, top made in USA coins by market cap. And you can see XRP, Solana, Chainlink, Avalanche, Stellar, Sui, Hedera, Litecoin, official Trump token, Uniswap, Aptos, Ondo, Algorand, Render. The list goes on. There's more being added every few hours. I think they've added another one. So this list will grow. There's plenty that aren't included in here, but this is going to be a big thing. I think alt season with under Trump, or not all season, but the altcoin market under Trump will be very largely based on U.S. tokens. And so that's going to be a big focus, a big narrative, a big shift in the way that altcoins behave. That's another sort of...
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And apparently, again, this is going to jack up my screen, but we're going to figure this out together. I'm going to pull these guys back up. I'm trying to fix this. Give me 1 second. We got Trump that's about to speak again. Let's see if he mentions something about the economy. If not, then I'll go right back off of him. Let me select the correct screen share. There we go. Why is that all jacked up? Let's see. Edit. Chrome.
He's doing another speech right now.
Yeah. There we go. Now, give me 1 second. I'll get my buddy back up here. Where is he at? It's too many damn cameras. This one, boom. Let me know if you guys can hear that.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds fine.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. And was that a hell of a speech or what? That was, man. That was a good way to start it off. You know, I didn't know exactly what the president would put in that speech, and I hope to
I'm going to
myself
grab a coffee
that he
real
wasn't
quick.
going to
1
hold
second.
back. And sir, you didn't hold back. That was a hell of a way to start the next 4 years. But I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and I know I speak for the president and for all of us, thank you, thank you, thank you for making this possible. We love you. We wouldn't be here without you, and we're going to make America great again together for the next 4 years. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, having stood outside for about 5 minutes to wave goodbye to the Bidens, thank God we moved that thing indoors because it was a beautiful ceremony and it was cold as hell outside. So, sir, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Now, if we do get a mention, obviously, of
No, he's
Bitcoin
right.
thing,
I
the market
looked, I
will
said,
likely
"Oh, look at
rebound.
this
And if he
beautiful
doesn't, it will
sunny
likely have
day."
another bit of a dip.
We blew it. We blew it.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think if
went
Trump was going to
outside
mention
and we
Bitcoin, it
were
would be in this
freezing.
speech, not
We
the
would
other
have
one.
been very unhappy. The sun was very deceptive, I will tell you. It is cold out. And I'm sort of saying, you know, that was so beautiful today. Maybe they should do it there every 4 years. Does that make sense? I don't know. Because, you know, the outdoor thing is really good, but it gets a little cold around this time of the year, as some people have noticed. And a lot of times they suffer through it. There was no suffering in that room. It was 72 degrees. It was perfect with the best acoustics I think I've ever heard in a room. This is not so bad either. But I just want to say, you're a younger, far more beautiful audience that I just spoke to. And I want to keep it off the record. I want to keep that off the record because I don't want to have all those big shots up there. I don't want to think you're more powerful than them. You look better than them. And I love you.
Trump.
Now, we just had a great time. We just had a great day. This was amazing. You know, when you think we took a journey, I mentioned in the speech, a lot of people said that was not a journey that was possible, and it was indeed possible. I didn't really know too much about what they were saying when they said that, but a lot of people felt it. And we hooked up with JD very early. I watched JD over a period of time. I endorsed him in Ohio. He was a great senator and very, very smart. The only one smarter than him was his wife. That was, I would have chosen her, but somehow the line of succession didn't work that way, right? But now she's great and he's great. This is a great, beautiful couple and unbelievable career. I just said to him, you are very upwardly mobile, because he hasn't been doing it that long, but he picked it up so quickly. Remember, the first week was a little bit like the fake news was hitting him really hard. And I said, ooh, this may be tough, but after that, it was smooth sailing for him. He took on everybody. He took on the meanest. I don't want to use the word corrupt because we're into a new system, so let's wait till the corruption begins, because it will. But he took on some pretty mean people, and he handled it well. I want to also congratulate Mike Johnson for the job that he's doing. Steve, we gave him a majority of almost nothing. And then I said, to make it tougher on him, let me take 2 or 3 of the people, right? I said, he'll only have to suffer with that for about 3 months. How are they doing, by the way? Are they, is that moving along?
Totally uniform.
I said, do you mind if I take this one, that one, and a couple of others? He didn't mind. He can handle it. No, he's a man that's liked by everybody. I've never met a man like this. You've got how many is it, 219 or 220 or something? 220. And of the 220, 219 really like him. I noticed he got 1 negative vote once about 2 weeks ago. But I think even 220 like him, if you want to know the truth. And that's very unusual. I know a lot of nice guys in Congress, and they have 35 people that hate him. So if you have 35 people that hate you and you only have 1 or 2 or 3 votes, you'll have 5, I think. But that's going to be like, you know, the good news is when we get to that 5 number, it's going to feel like a massive majority. You could be really nasty to a couple of them at least. Yeah? So it's going to feel like hitting your head on the wall and stopping. It feels so good to stop. But he's done a fantastic job. And Steve Scalise is, he's our hero because, you know, I was with him.
Well,
You
it
talk
seems
about being shot.
it seems
I was
it
with
seems
him. He
like he's
got some
talking
bad
more
ones
about
and, his
just random
incredible
things
wife
and
and-
stuff. So we'll get back to that. You guys let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if there's any other discussions regarding crypto and things of that nature, and we will pull him back up because we got to look at what's going on here. Because I mean, at the end of the day, again, the price. First off, I mean, we're starting to have candle closures. This is a 4-hour chart. We're starting to have candle closures that are actually, this time didn't happen, but these are actually maybe establishing that defended area above $100,000, which is kind of the first step. And everybody wants this to moon. Well, we haven't really shown back here. This was, impulse up, came right back down. In this case here, impulse up, it did come down, but now we're actually getting a defended area above $100,000. Yes, we dipped below it on a wick yesterday, but on the 4-hour candle, it was kind of the smallest I would really wage on this. Holding above this, if we're able to maintain this, I think it's very good. But I do see we got Matthew Highland's got some charts up here as well as Kevin. So let me go ahead and switch over which screen share we're doing, and we'll take a peek. I'm not sure, not that one. Hold on. Where is guest 4? I think it's guest number 5. Boom. There's that. But I wanted to get to Kevin. Where's Kevin's deal at? Hold on. Guest 4. There we go. Is this which one is this? This is Kevin's.
That's me. Yeah.
So
So
Matt,
my first here. Okay.
yeah, Tavis, Matt, take us through what you're seeing.
Just bad coin comments.
Oh, your audio, you sound like a robot.
Did you just turn into a robot?
Everyone.
Oh, it's Kevin. That's so
I do
weird.
too.
Both.
Oh, come on.
It's on,
Here, Kevin, why don't you talk real quick?
Hello.
Hey, Matthew, drop off and come back on. There we go.
I guess
You
you.
there?
I think we're there.
Yeah, my the screens, it completely everything crashed. I guess everybody's just so excited here. All right, well, continuing on. Okay, I think we're continued here on both, I believe. Says we got 3,226, so I think it is good. So get your screen shares back up, and we'll be diving into these charts.
Yep. I mean, whoever wants to start, Matthew, is your mic good now?
I was doing 10, so we're looking big.
Why is Matthew's? You
All
sound
right,
like a robot.
Matthew, your mic doesn't really work. You might have to turn off your VPN or something.
Do you have another mic you can use instead of your headset?
Yeah.
Well, you can just turn my screen on first, I guess, while we wait.
Yep. You got to share it.
Yep. Okay.
There we go.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, anyway, so the price action everyone's talking about, everyone's zoomed in. They're zoomed in 5-minute chart and like, oh my god, we're crashing, right? But ultimately, guys, I mean, Bitcoin touched a new all-time high yesterday. It's currently bouncing off 100,000. And we know Bitcoin, this could all change in an instant. Bitcoin could be pumping up to a new high in the next hour, 4 hours, day, whatever, right? So it's like whatever's happening right now means absolutely nothing. And people, I thought it was funny, people were expecting, this is sort of going back to today's topic, people were expecting Trump to pump Bitcoin in the inauguration speech, which I thought was kind of hilarious because everyone wants sort of their own little piece of the puzzle, the pie. And, there's people that actually have real life issues, whatever, he's talking about the border, energy, this, that, real policy, real issues. That's of course going to be the first thing he discusses, the first sort of order of business. It's not going to be Bitcoin. Right. So it's almost a delusional thought to think that Trump should have even talked about Bitcoin in the inauguration speech is a little bit delusional, in my opinion. Now he mentioned it last night at the celebration speech, and he'll probably mention it in the speech he's doing right now, most likely, probably, but it doesn't really matter. The Trump event, this is a 4-year event, right? This is not a short-term thing. It's a 4-year event, guys. So whatever's happening in the hour, I mean, it really means nothing. It's a 4-year event ahead of us. And so just like the ETF, when the ETF was approved on that week, I mean, nothing really had dipped a little bit and then it rebounded. Okay, I mean, it's all sort of priced in ahead of time, and it's a long-term event. The ETF is a long-term event. Trump, long-term event. So that's people, I think, I don't know, their expectations are always a little bit delusional, in my opinion. I think it's all going well and as planned at the moment. Bitcoin in the long term is in a parabolic trend. We're still in a parabola. Bitcoin is really close to a new high here. We've actually broken the monthly high, the wick high, which should initiate a short squeeze eventually, right? That sell wall was cracked last night, and I think it's going to initiate continuation. We've weakened the sell wall with a new all-time high last night, and I think that's going to play out in our favor. We've had this weekly RSI breakout. And similarly to the ETF approval zone where the price runs up and we have that short-term consolidation right in there, right in this spot. Let me just put a circle on it, the ETF right there. In that zone, the weekly RSI had a slight downtrend. And we also just had a similar type of action within a larger scale weekly RSI breakout, right? So the weekly RSI breakout that took place before the run up to the ETF zone had, this right here, this breakout caused a huge move up in the market when we broke that. And then there was a short-term one with a huge move after. And we've had now a very similar setup with a long-term weekly RSI breakout, which led to the first initial pump up here. And now we have, just like that ETF zone, a slightly, a smaller one. And now we've broken that as well. And that smaller RSI resistance break led to Bitcoin going from 40,000 all the way to 74. That was a huge move. And so now we're sitting on a very similar style setup. And so the next thing to do is going to be a major run up, another all-time high, or a continuation up. Bitcoin has only just broken the all-time high. People in crypto, we look at the charts every single day. And so our perspective is highly skewed because we look at the charts every single day. But Bitcoin just broke its all-time high at 74,000, relatively speaking. And so that was only the first wave, the first common wave of enthusiasm. Now Trump's in office, likely to get a second common wave of enthusiasm. And the weekly RSI, that secondary breakout, is looking pretty promising. I mean, we're probably going to continue to run up. The daily RSI also has seen a major structural break to the upside. Daily RSI breakout as well. We just retested it and now bouncing off of it. So that's really good to see. Likely goes into the overbought zone. Usually the biggest trends start with being overbought initially and continue to stay overbought when there's a trending market. And the daily MACD is crossed up. The weekly MACD, if we can hold the neutral zone and bounce, that would be really, really similar to the ETF zone, because then if you look like this, it'd be the exact same setup 2 times where you have a long-term weekly RSI break, runs up, MACD pulls back but does not cross down. It actually holds that neutral zone, and then you have the second weekly RSI breakout. We are in a position to have the long-term breakout and that secondary one while holding the neutral zone on the MACD. The setup is very, very similar to this previous run-up. So it looks like a continuation setup to me. I don't see why not. The trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and Bitcoin is still going parabolic. And the altcoins, real quick, I'll send it over back to Matthew. Hopefully you got your mic there. Doesn't work. Still doesn't work. But you're still a robot. You turn off your VPN if you have one. See if that helps. But the total 3, the altcoin market cap, is also now sitting at the 40th week, right? And so, I should say the whole market. We are at the 40th week post halving. And in previous cycles, let me go to the others chart. Go to the others chart. You're still a robot. The others chart, every cycle so far, guys, I have this indicator or a sort of a model, more or less, and it's really simple. It's a fixed time-based profit-taking schedule, and it's just counting 40 weeks after the halving, and 80 weeks is the profit end zone. So 40 weeks post halving is profit start, 80 weeks is profit end. Bitcoin halving cycle profit, that's what it's called. Free to use on TradingView. At the 40th week in every cycle, that's where alts get really bullish, right? So if we go back in time, go to the 2017 cycle. This is the others chart. All the cryptos except the top 10. Huge move for the alts after that 40th week, and the 80th week is the bear market. And then if you go over to the next cycle after that, 2021, huge pump right after the 40th week. The others chart is breaking its all-time high going to the 40th week, and then a major move for the alts afterward. And while the altcoins are moving up after the 40th week, Bitcoin is going sideways. And then the others chart is actually going pumping, right? And so now, and then the 80th week is the bear market, right? And then now we're at the 40th week. This cycle is a little bit more lackluster for alts. Interest rates are elevated heavily.
Do you think that's going to be
Right.
something that, do you think that's going to be something that persists, or do you think that we're going to have a pretty explosive catch up here in the coming weeks? I guess some of it's dependent a little bit on what the sort of nature of the executive orders are and what the landscape looks like over the next 90 days, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to have a bit of a catch-up game taking place. I don't see why not. I mean, Trump just launched an altcoin, right? So I think that going into the 40th week, this is the standard timing, halving, and then 40 weeks later and it's usually right around the inauguration where things get really bullish. There's a major common wave of enthusiasm that takes you up to a significantly higher levels for Bitcoin and altcoins. And I don't see why not. I think there's going to be a lot of energy behind Trump's inauguration, and I think we're going to see alts play a bit of a catch-up game, though it's likely not going to be exactly the same as other cycles. In past cycles, we had zero rates, infinite money printing. Now we have no money printing and elevated rates at levels that we haven't seen for many decades. But still, I think that the altcoins will have really good runs. It'll just be slightly different behavior. But this is about the time in every cycle where the altcoins begin the biggest sort of part of their cycle and their run. It's coming up now.
On
There's
that
a
note,
resistance line here that if we break that right there, that resistance, I think it'll start right on the 40th week, which is coming up in next week.
oh, that's right on. Matthew, let's see if your mic works this time.
I like yours.
You're still robot, so
Yeah.
it might be your earbuds, like low battery or something like that, or bad connection with your phone. Yeah. But I do want to shout out everybody. We're trying to get Matthew on. If it doesn't work this time, Matt and Kevin and I are going to, for the most part, be doing I'll be live every Monday at 12:30. But Matthew and Kevin we're going to be doing like basically this alpha hour breaking down. I do want to shout out, head over to my Twitter, which is right here, and hit that retweet. You will be entered to win. Make sure you're following me right here at Kelly Kellam, but most importantly, make sure you're following Kevin. I see we got quite a bit of Kevin's followers here as well. For those of you that are not following him, make sure you follow him. Turn on the notifications here. This is how you see he drops alpha all day long, every day. I mean, just great stuff in here. Make sure you're following Kevin. And then, of course, Matthew, who is Mr. Robot today. You can follow him right here at Matthew Highland. You see that right there, Matthew Highland _. And again, same thing with Kevin. It's Kevin Svensson _, as you can see right there. Now I'm going to throw it back over to you, Kevin. Just wanted to highlight that so people can get involved and make some money and make some get the giveaways we do all regularly. What are you seeing with ETH, man? There's all this speculation that all of a sudden Trump made Solana like he was like a king picker, But then at
Well,
the same time, he bought, tens of millions of dollars of ETH, sold some Solana for ETH. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic of what's going on here.
yeah, it's strange. I mean, people, of course, are going crazy over Trump's coin and Melania or whatever. And if you look on chain, you'll see that World Liberty Financial, Trump's crypto company, is accumulating Ethereum more than anything right now. More than anything. I mean, they bought some Chainlink today as well, which is cool. But Ethereum is being accumulated a ton by Trump. And for some reason, it seems like people don't recognize that. I think people are just fed up with Ethereum here. I mean, it's sort of just being really lackluster. But I mean, I have no doubt that at some point, there's going to be a surprise God candle on Ethereum. I mean, if Trump's the biggest news in crypto right now and Trump coin's the hottest thing in the market right now, I mean, if his number one buy right now is Ethereum, which it is, he now has $160 million. I'm assuming Trump is looking for $1 billion price tag on that holding, right? It's 160 million. He probably thinks it can go 10x. So I'm assuming Trump is looking for something that is, well established, more secure, has a history, has adoption, and is useful for whatever he's trying to do. And I think he's probably got plans to use Ethereum. And
I mean, this is a list of just some of the stuff he bought, this morning. 7.5. It's funny that it's 4.7, 47th president. Tron, Link, AAVE, huge buy on ETH, which it's not, this is just this morning. He's been stacking over the last 3 days, Wrap Bitcoin, Athena. And we're also seeing, like,
hold on, go back to that.
Where is it? I've got so many tabs. There we go.
Okay, so I'm just realizing. So he buys 4.7 million worth of many of those coins because he's the 47th president. But what is 9.4? He buys 9.4 of Ethereum and then 940 of ENA. Why 9? What is 9.4? What is that?
I don't know.
I don't know. But it's clearly something because it's a clue. Maybe I'm gonna take a note.
Yeah. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I mean, he was just stacking in on stuff this morning, and even Link, XRP, whales. There is some appetite that's starting to heat up in the market. I mean, look at the holding of Link. This was their holding, a little under 80,000, and boom. I mean, this is a massive boost for anybody that's holding Link moving forward. Because this is basically tripling their exposure, over tripling, because I think it's 256,000 Link that they hold now. But I mean, there's been all kind of different news that's come out. Solana, the fees to the moon with what was going on there. This is just some of the stuff I was going to go over if you guys didn't show up. Regards from Rect Capital. We regularly see corrections. This is our, a first real correction that we've seen over the last few days, and now the market's still sitting above that $100,000 market, unless it's changed. Yeah, still sitting here $104,000. It's looking good. But Matthew, are you back to being a human? You are full robot. Do you not have another mic, like a computer or something?
It's your Bluetooth connection. You have to use another type of headphone.
We'll have it. I know he was going to have to leave about now, so that's okay. We'll have him on next week. We have Matthew on here regularly, so again, make sure you're giving him a follow if you would, and that's right here. He drops great charts throughout every day, so make sure you're giving him a follow. Throwing it back over to your screen. What else are you looking at right now? Are you inclined to look US based crypto sort of focused? Or are you still kind of holding strong broadly through AI and crypto and US, or what are you looking at?
Well, I don't know why it can't see it on the screen. You can't see the full screen on your side, I don't think. You see the right side's cut off?
Yeah, just trying to make it look pretty. Hold on.
Wait, can I move it? No, I'm not sure how to.
If you make your screen less wide, it will probably.
Oh, there you go. There it is, right? I believe that should be it right there. So yeah, this is World Liberty Financial Holdings, Trump's company, and I think this is what Whoops, where the hell? How the hell did my screen just exit?
I don't know. We're having all kinds
Oh,
of technical issues
no,
today.
I
don't
got
know
it.
what the hell.
It's back. It's back. Here, I'll share my screen. No, that was I don't know what I just did, but I just clicked something. That worked. Okay. So, World Liberty Financial Holdings, this is skyrocketing right now. You can see, like, I guess this is the total portfolio chart. Trump's company 61 million, now 318 million. I mean, they're going for $1 billion, right? They're looking to be a big player in this space. They kind of came in like hawks, right? It was almost unexpected in a way, the way that Trump stepped into this market, like as he just did, like all of a sudden, just like kaboom, Trump coin, and then now he's pumping a bunch of bags, buying a bunch of stuff, and you can see the main holdings here: USDC, USDT, Tron Link, Ethereum, AAVE, ENA, Ondo, BTC, Wrapped BTC, and so. I mean, these are the coins that I think are going to be in the spotlight, are going to be on people's radar. And what's going to happen is if these coins start to do really well in the future, right? People start buying them and these become some of the better performers of the blue chips. And then as they add more positions, once they add those new positions come in, you're going to see those coins are going to pump, right? So this is going to be a big thing. And Trump is likely almost like guaranteed in a way to stick to mostly US based tokens. And so I think that's going to be a theme of this cycle now, which was not necessarily something that people really understood or knew before. But I think we had a lot of these high cap coins pumping, and a lot of them were US based coins. So I think insiders got caught wind of this a little earlier, a few months ago, and started to get into the top US based coins that are most likely to benefit from Trump's policies and executive orders. And clearly that's been the case. So I think a new theme is really US based. And so it's not that you were asking, like, am I going to stop focusing on other things? Well, of course not. But US based coins, I mean, if Trump's going to sit there, if the president of the United States is going to be supporting that sector of crypto, it will be good to have exposure to US based coins, right? I think that this type of event, or whatever you want to call it, the US based coin stuff, I think it's going to create sectors in the market, right? You're going to have these sort of clusters of coins that are going to have behavior that is slightly different than all the rest. So I think as crypto matures, instead of everything going up at once and everything going down at once and everything doing the exact same thing, which is really how it's been forever, I think now with these types of, with this whole Trump US based coin thing, you're going to start to see the market mature, and there's going to be sectors, and there's going to be different indexes, and there's going to be play on different sectors of the market, and there might be more competition because of that. And there, it might be like, European coins, US coins, Asian coins, like that actually might be a thing soon, where instead of everything just being sort of in one little or one big basket, it'll be sectored out. So I think that's going to be actually good for the space, in terms of like more concentration in certain zones, more competition between different sectors in the market. But I see you have Solana pulled up there.
Yeah, I'll go back to that in a second. I just had this up a second ago. Just a reminder, I mean, these last cycles, coming into January 2013, obviously we just had the run up after the sell off that, preceded this. But cycle 2, January sell off, then launch. And not only did it launch, it really did its work to chop people out with a run up and then an immediate sell off back to the same support level. Last cycle, 2021. Look at this massive sell-off from January 8th all the way into about the 27th of January. And we've kind of had this consolidation. As bullish as I am, I think what people need to realize, because we're so bullish still doesn't mean that we don't have an opportunity, for instance, on Bitcoin to have this come down, lose $100,000, come back in this zone, maybe potentially find support on this trend line here that I've kind of have that goes all the way back, for support here, rejection here, kind of support and rejection here, support here. Would that be an area? Would that be an area for price to potentially come back to? Maybe even still could come back down in this mid 80 zone. Now I'm definitely leaning very much more bullish than that, but I'm aware that if that happens, it's not out of context because we have seen, pretty large sell-offs before. Let's be honest, that pullback that we've had, the pullback that we had from here even down to this zone, that is 17%, and the current
That's
pullback.
standard.
Yeah, it's minuscule. 8% on this little move here. If we were to get something that was in kind like we've seen in any previous cycles, we'd need to move somewhere down, down here into this even $77,000. While I'm finding this less likely, even with some of the FUD today with, oh, he didn't mention it. I think, I don't discount the fact that he's still a statesman, as crass as some people think he is. And I'm sure, as you mentioned, the border is more important. Healthcare is more important. There's a whole litany of things with the military and geopolitics and, what's going on, especially because he just launched, Trump coin and Melania coin. Probably not the best thing for him to come out and just, be super bullish in his inauguration speech.
It's almost like people in crypto are like little, like, I don't want to insult people, but it's like spoiled children. They're like, mention my bags, pump my bags, and you have all these actual problems in the world. Trump's list of like priorities, which is like the border, military, all these things, and then the crypto people are like, why didn't you mention, why didn't you pump my bag? And it's like, all right, there's the president of the United States. His inauguration speech probably won't be about Bitcoin. It's more about the dollar. His first priority is actually the U.S. dollar above Bitcoin. But in terms of currencies, U.S. dollar is above Bitcoin on Trump's book, right? That's something that people should understand as well. If you look at the U.S. dollar index, U.S. dollar's been going up. Since he won the election, it's been going up. And that's because people expect the U.S. dollar to be strong under Trump. And Trump's goal is to make the U.S. dollar strong. But he's also looking to, get exposure to Bitcoin because he sees the value there as well. And it's been interesting because the U.S. dollar has been going up with Bitcoin alongside it in recent times. Both have been going up. So it's like not one size fits all. It's not always inversely correlated. Often it is. Most of the time it is. But in the recent times, you've had Bitcoin pumping and the U.S. dollar pumping, which I thought was super interesting. But that U.S. dollar pump is because people know that Trump wants America to be dominant, right? If Trump, some people should. What am I saying? People need to realize that the U.S. dollar is like the backbone. Like if the U.S. dollar doesn't do well, America doesn't do well. Trump's priority is first dollar, then maybe Bitcoin, right? In terms of currencies,
right?
So
but there's a little bit of a dichotomy of the dollar doing well because he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want the dollar to do so well. It strains foreign ability to service the debt that they have to us as well, right? Because if the dollar is really high, and it also affects manufacturing and some of the concerns regarding inflation and stuff like that. So even with like I had this chart up here a second ago, you can see the dollar index overlaid. This is the dollar index, the value of the dollar overlaid with the price of Bitcoin, and we have seen periods in time where
I can pull it up here. Well.
But the point being is, I do think it's getting to the point probably in the territory. He doesn't really want it above, 110, 114, 118. I would expect that he'd want it somewhere back down here in this region here. And even this move from here back into this sort of median zone would be a massive sort of, a massive sin for the markets, so coming back over to you.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think, Trump's priority is to at least just have the dollar in a good place, right? That comes before Bitcoin in his mind. I'm pretty sure of it, right? I think people would be delusional to think that Bitcoin's a higher priority for Trump than the dollar. But regardless, in recent times, we've seen them both trending up. The purple line is the dollar, Bitcoin's in candles. and they've both been going the same direction, which isn't always the case. Most of the time it's not, but I just found that to be interesting. It happens here and there. Here and there you can see there are moments where the dollar's kind of trending up and Bitcoin's bouncing, and it's very obviously a very complicated topic. It's complicated to pinpoint exactly what and exactly why. One really valuable tool for macroeconomics and understanding these things is go to like ChatGPT and type in, why did this happen when this happened, and it starts to give you answers, and it's much easier to understand the relationship between like the dollar or interest rates and Bitcoin, because it's very complicated, and there's never one answer. There's never one reason for anything in economics. There's never one reason. It's always multifaceted. But regardless, how do I get rid of this? I don't know why.
What are you trying to do?
Usually there's the button to get rid of it.
You can just click on it and press delete.
Oh, I should have known that.
Hey, I'm the Trading View the quick key wizard, man.
I should have known that. But yeah, another thing is I'm not sure if I'm switching gears too quickly here, but something exciting that I see on the monthly chart is a major trap liquidity short squeeze setup, which has had a pretty high hit rate on the monthly at this point in the cycle and in these kinds of trends, which is when you basically the concept behind a trap liquidity short squeeze or a trap liquidity long squeeze is that if you have an uptrend and then there's a rejection candle that is going against that uptrend, and then the trend goes back to the upside, when it breaks that wick high, there's trap shorts and it squeezes.
Oh, I mean, you can see that perfectly here on this liquidation map. I mean, there's all this liquidity right at this zone. So if this does start pushing up through that, and I
think it's cut off. You got to move your screen to the right, I think.
I guess it doesn't let me do that shit. There
you go.
Yeah.
So when you have, I guess you can go back to my screen real quick.
Yeah.
When you have a trending market with a rejection candle inside of that trend, and if you have a large wick that is 45% or more larger than the candle body, you can make a pretty educated guess that there's a lot of short positions in there that have the possibility to be squeezed. And this works much better on lower time frames, but it has a pretty high hit rate on the monthly. And basically, such as down here, 2023, Bitcoin bounces on the monthly chart, it runs up, and the ETF rejection zone right here, that candle, that wick is a rejection wick inside of an uptrend, inside of a trending market. And when you break the wick high, the shorts inside of that candle from wick to wick, basically is how you measure it, get squeezed at a 1 to 1.5 according to this method if the 20 EMA is up at a 45-degree angle, right? That confirms your momentum. And a 1 to 1.5, I mean, you had a beautiful hit on that. It broke the wick high, squeezed it up. It went even higher than that, but that target was reached. There's another great one in the last cycle where if you have this rejection wick inside of an uptrend, huge rejection wick, the price breaks above the wick high, and it runs at a 1 to 1.5. The target was reached almost with precision. That candle from high to low, you measure it from the wick high to the wick low at a 1 to 1.5. The EMA is up at a 45-degree angle or more. The wick is 45% or more larger than the candle body, and it breaks the wick high. It's only confirmed when you break the high, not before, because otherwise it's just a rejection. You break the wick high, and then it runs all the way up, almost a perfect target right there for that monthly squeeze. And so that took place right around the same time period in the cycle, that rejection wick, and it ended up playing out. So you've had a couple of these, and now you have one again, right? And so it is middle of the month, but we have broken that sell wall. The sell wall, is fractured now because we hit an all-time high last night. So that sell wall is now fractured. It's weakened. And even though, we're down right now, oftentimes it can take a while for these things to play out. In this monthly, whether it closes down here or not, if you continue past that wick high, the crazy thing is the target on that is 134,000 for that trap liquidity short squeeze setup. right? And it's very valid in my opinion. And so that's where we would be headed, 134,000 on a multi-month move, right? It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be immediate. Just like draw some lines here with green color, just to show, like, yeah, it can take time. It's not going to be instant. Go to like a red candle and pull up. Just to give you guys a visual, I always like to visualize things. It could take 4 months, right? It could take 4 months to get there to hit that target. But you see the point, that monthly candle is trapped if we're going to continue to trend above the high of that candle, and we're going to see a large squeeze.
Dude, you have to pull up this chart because I saw somebody post something about this and I just pulled it up. Wait, is this actually pull up the quant chart? Wait, why does it look different here?
Quant?
Yeah, because somebody just said quant. I don't think this is the same quant. This is not the same quant. I'm looking at this. This is a different quant. Somebody said that quant token going crazy on Moonshot app listing. So I just typed in quant instead of QNT. This is obviously something different because I could tell by the price. But I don't even know what that is. Quant spot. Okay, quant.
Yeah, it's something else. It's something else.
Yeah, there must be something else that was happening there. Sorry for sidetracking you there. When I saw that, I was like, no, wait, that's the wrong quant.
But yeah, this monthly trap liquidity short squeeze target is 134,000. It has a high hit rate on these past monthlies, so I just wanted to make that point. It sounds pretty crazy, right? It's like, oh my God, Kev, are you really that much of a moon boy right now, or whatever people say, right? But it's just the technical setup. It's not like an opinion. It's like, how would you measure this move based on what the setup is showing here? And it's 134,000. So, again, it could take months to get there. Whenever I do this, whenever I like pull up like targets for the weekly or the monthly, people will come back in a week and be like, Kev, I thought you said. It's like, dude.
Yeah, even those candles,
chart.
even those candles you have there that project it out, that would be 4 months to do that on that deal.
Right. And so that's like April, May, and people will come back in 2 weeks. They'll come back in February and say, Kev, but I thought you said, dude, look at the chart. It's a monthly chart. It takes a lot of time, but that is the current setup that I see. The current bullish case for Bitcoin, the next major target, right? The next major target. Until then, you're going to see all kinds of stuff happen, and you'll probably forget about this target by the time, next month rolls around, and you'll just, that's usually what people do. But I would say at least keep it in mind, because that's your technical setup right now for the monthly. And the monthly MACD is actually supporting the idea of continuation bullishness. And also, I want to mention the monthly RSI is a great one to keep a track of. Because if you go to the monthly RSI and you look at the past, I guess we can go to Bitstamp chart here, look at some of that history. Look at that monthly RSI. It marks the top of cycles fairly well. The last cycle, 65K, wasn't the actual top, but it was a major, major high. And we had a much lower high, major monthly bearish divergence there at 69, right? But still, if you look all the way in the past, these major monthly RSI tops are really, really key signals. And so,
yeah, 90 or above, it looks like.
Yeah, it's about 92 on average. Well, not on average. On average, it's about like 94, you could say. Last cycle was 92. So if you want to just draw a line through those to get your possible level, it could be something like 88 this cycle, right? 88, 89, maybe 90, right? Could be 90 for a whole number target if you want to go with that. But round it up to a 90, I guess. But something like 88, 90, we have a lot of room to run. And remember, it's the monthly chart. And oftentimes in markets, not always, but sometimes, like the weekly RSI especially, sometimes the monthly, the actual top of the RSI is not the top of the market, especially like on the weekly. Oftentimes the RSI peak is not the actual price peak. So it can be confusing sometimes, like last cycle, that was not the actual price peak. But regardless, Bitcoin could run up to, you know, a major, let's say it hits that trap liquidity short squeeze target of 134,000, and then it has a pullback, major pullback, and then bounces again for a slightly lower high, but it actually hits a higher high on the monthly with a lower high on the RSI, and it gives you that bearish divergence, something along those lines.
It's a exit stage left signal.
Right, exactly. Once you hit that target right there, this is a major sell point. You know, even though people always get so fixated on the goddamn wick high, it's not important. It is not important where the wick high comes, because you won't even sell it there. You'll be too excited. You won't even click the sell button anyway. And
Yeah.
so Bitcoin monthly RSI peaks at 65, but people go, oh, well, that wasn't hot. We went to 69. I mean, honestly, who cares? Who cares, right? If you're looking in retrospect, it's like you sold 64 or 66, basically, realistically. Doesn't really matter. You know, it is a major sell point. It's a major sell point, that 65K zone. And this could have been a lower high for all we know, right? I mean, anything's possible in markets. And so if Bitcoin runs up to a major target, let's say we hit something like 134, 140, and it's the first monthly RSI top, there's no guarantee that there will be a higher high later. So it's still a profit-taking zone. It's still a sell point, right?
Yeah.
This market is so volatile that you're going to be really happy that you took profits, even if it's just an intermediate term correction, because the price will basically just give up all the gains before getting to that higher high, right? You're going to have like a 50% drop or whatever the hell it is, and then you'll hit your all-time high later. But in the meantime, you'll just give up all your gains and then get to your all-time high after. Like, that's how this market tends to behave. It'll run you in a full circle, and then it'll give you what you want in the end, right when you give up. It happens every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
But what an exciting, you know, era that we're ushering into. We had President Trump inaugurated today. We had, I mean, the new Treasury Secretary, you know, was a large holder of the IBIT, the Bitcoin BlackRock spot ETF. You got a new head of the new chair of the SEC that's coming in. The foot that's been on the neck of the crypto industry, even though we pushed up to 70,000 last cycle, now we have a runway that is cleared ahead, at least perceptibly cleared. It's going to be interesting to see this week what these executive orders are. So I know we're going to be wrapping out here soon. I gotta host another deal on Mario's thing. Do you have any last charts or closing thoughts you wanted to give to everybody?
Well, I think that this point in the cycle, it's never been really a great idea to be bearish, not necessarily yet. In the last cycle, I guess we did have a top going into next month or so. Maybe, I guess, the equal timing from halving. But in this cycle, we're not even at the 40th week yet on the monthly here, right? Or no, wait a minute. It was on the 40th week last cycle.
Are you measuring that from the halving, or where are you measuring it from?
Yeah, it's the halving. So it depends on what cycle you look at. 2017, we had huge upside. This was when Trump was first brought into office, major upside after. And then last cycle was Biden. We kind of topped right after he got in office. We hit the 65K top dump. I mean, in this cycle, who knows, right? I think that we're going to see, I mean, we have a pro-Bitcoin president. I think we're going to see probably a lot of upside in the coming months. And the 40th week is usually a very bullish zone, especially for the altcoins. The 40th week is usually where things get really crazy. We have huge pumps going to the 40th week, which is coming in. You know, I think this is kind of mismatched actually on the monthly chart. I got to fix that. But yeah, coming in really the end of this month is the timing. So 40th week zone, a lot of hype, but also after that hype, guys, don't take your profits for granted. Definitely take something home.
I absolutely agree with that. I just want to shout out, thank you, Kevin, for coming on here. I'll be looking forward to doing Mondays with you, breaking down charts and different lenses with you and Matthew. It's too bad we'll have to get his mic fixed. Maybe I'll send him one via Amazon. I don't know why he was having issues there. But you know, I don't know why Ecamm crashed earlier. I'm glad that
maybe an Amazon drone ship him a mic.
Yeah. No, I'm glad when I was worried that when I kicked this back on that it was going to continue on the same stream on YouTube and on Twitter, and it did. So shout out anybody if you are new here. Welcome to BitLab Academy channel. We try to bring on some of the best minds in the space, and I'm lucky to call Kevin a friend. You know, we've known each other for a while on the digital webs, but we also got to meet at a couple of the conferences in the last year or so.
Hopefully we
and
do that again this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you going to come to Vegas?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah, come on. Come on. Yeah, we'll have the whole setup again. I'm sure we'll do another media house and parties and a bunch of the other stuff. But yeah, we'll stay in contact there. And everybody out there, I guarantee you, your entire circle in your real life is not crypto focused. You probably tune into that when you're online here in the crypto community. It is so worth it to go to a conference somewhere because you get to tie in the faces to the people, to being around other people that know what's going on in this space. It really does help strengthen your resolve to fight through the hard times when you build up your community. But I love you guys.
If you see Kelly at a conference, go talk to him. It's fun.
Yeah, come on, man. I'll talk to anybody. But that's all we got for today, everybody. Stay tuned. I'll be live again tomorrow. Remember, on Mondays, I'll be 12:30 to 1:30. The rest of the week, same time, 11:30 to 12:30, right after Discover Crypto. But yeah, that's all we got today, man. Just keep your eyes out on these executive orders. Realize that anything that does or doesn't happen will cause some short-term volatility within the market. And if it's to the downside, if we're so bullish about where this could go, I mean, I can't tell you to buy, but it's for me, it's definitely creating an opportunity zone on a lot of these different projects that we've been so bullish on for so long. But I couldn't be more excited about 2025, and I'll look forward to the stream tomorrow. And again, Kevin, thanks for coming on and sharing all your wisdom, my brother.
Of course. I'll see you guys.
And that's what we got, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to be sending you over to Jason Casper's stream today since the blockchain isn't on after me. So let's drop in there. Everybody, when this ends, you can stay here. It will redirect you to Jason Casper. Say the BitLab Academy family is here. Let's all go spam his chat. Show some love. That's all we got. Adios, everybody.